One more time. This is Manhattan Community Board 2's May full board meeting. I'm Valerie Della Rosa, the chair of Manhattan Community Board 2. I kindly ask if you're having any sort of conversation, please take it outside. We are very much delayed and this microphone is going in and out. Welcome to everyone joining us here in the room and on Zoom. We will start with attendance. I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Emma Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Ooh, louder than usual. We're going to hold that back. There are some new folks joining us. Welcome. Please correct me if I mispronounce your name in our first roll call. Thank you. Susanna Aaron. William Benash is absent with notification. Keen Berger. Anita Brandt. Amy Brenna. I think I saw you online. Yep. Thanks, Amy. Rich Kakapolo. Ritu Chatri.
Present.
Oh, I see you, Ritu. Thank you. Nina Chen. Thank you. Valerie De La Rosa.
was like, you can't send PDFs. So here we are. Just share the link. And everybody can just look at the link.
And so do I bring anything else?
Okay.
So now I have to. Yeah. So.
Can you hear me on?
Yeah. We'll use that as a backup. I don't want to knock.
Hear me online? I can't read because I don't have it Zoom.
Yes, we can. Awesome.
Okay, so we're going to get started. We're going to go back. So thank you everyone so much. We're going to get started. So thank you for your patience in the room, online. Emma, you did attendance. We're all set. We have a quorum. So now we're going to begin our public session. Our first vice chair, Eugene, our first vice chair, Eugene Yu, is going to run the public session. If you'd like to continue your conversation, please take it outside. So Eugene is going to run the public session.
Okay.
Yeah, so speakers will have, or you can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. All right, so I will run the public session. Speakers will have 2 minutes to speak. I will call on people that are online, as well as people that have also filled out a paper form to speak. I will start with public speakers that are in the room. When I call your name, please come up to the front, to the microphone, and do you have a timer? Okay, Donna will be running the timer, but we'll give a notice when we're getting close to the 2 minutes. And when you come up to the room, come up to the microphone, please state your name and the topic that you'd like to speak about. So I will begin with speakers that have signed up on person. So first we have Lois Rakoff. Hi, Lois.
Am I on now? Yeah, me. So I'm speaking to you for the Washington Square Music Festival. This requires no money. It's every Tuesday in June at 8 o'clock in Washington Square Park. I have flyers. It will be June 3rd, June 10th, June 17th, and June 24th, and it is going to be marvelous. All you have to do, hi Sean, all you have to do is queue up and come in and sit down, and you're going to have a wonderful time. And it's by the Garibaldi statue, kind of like on the east side of Washington Square Park, and it is free. And bring your friends. Thank you. No money. Free, 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 free.
All right, thank you, Lois.
And it's 67, this is the 67th year. And some of you have never heard about the Washington Square Music Festival, and you've lived here for 20, 30, or 40 years, so come.
All right, thank you, Lois. Next, we have Nina Roberts. If Nina Roberts.
Hi, I'm Nina Roberts. I've never been to one of these meetings before. I'm here because I live on the corner of Lafayette and Prince Street, and there's a club called Gospel that is in between Houston and Prince on the east side of Lafayette. And they have been there for a while, but I think they got very popular in the past few months. And from 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there's basically gridlock traffic. And I could handle that, except for it is like constant honking. It's people leaning on their horn because of all the limos and Escalades and Ubers that are dropping people off and picking people up, that it just blocks. Lafayette only has 2 lanes of traffic now, so it blocks definitely one, sometimes both of them. And the honking is just unbearable. It's really extremely loud. I'm not sure what can be done about it. They have like traffic guys that try and move the traffic, but it doesn't seem to help. I have
Video that I shot out of my window of an ambulance that
had to take
bike lane.
because there was so much gridlock. So it's just, not only is it really annoying and we're all unable to sleep, but it's blocking the traffic for emergency vehicles. So, I have photographs and videos if anyone wants to see it, but I just don't really know what to do. I actually did talk to the owner last Saturday night, and so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's it. Thanks.
We have questions.
Yeah.
Is that 281 Lafayette? Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about? Yeah, the Traffic and Transportation Committee is going to be reviewing that in June. So look at our agenda and
Okay.
be sure you attend and bring solutions. Sounds like a
Great.
tough one.
Yeah, one solution I was thinking, and the club owner was thinking this too, but I don't know if it's in his power. There's a line of parked cars right next to the bike lane. If somehow they could be like removed, I don't know if that's even possible. So then there would be 3 lanes of traffic, but I don't know if that's possible.
We'll discuss it.
It's a bike lane and then parked cars and then the traffic. Yeah.
We're going to talk out. You're going to use a microphone. I think this can be discussed.
Can you please repeat what Susan said for the microphone? What I understand that you're asking, you are saying that the new protected bike lane is actually what you feel is making a traffic problem for you now?
I have no idea. I don't think the club was popular before, and now it's popular. So there was no, like people
The
dropping off.
situation changed.
Yeah, so that's what I'm guessing, and that's the only solution that I can think of.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'm seeing none. Okay, thank you, Nina. Next, we have Stephen Rubenstone, also on regarding the same topic. Stephen, if you can come up.
Hey, yeah, I'm Stephen Rubenstone. I'm actually Nina's neighbor. So to get right to the point, Gospel, I mean, it's right on Lafayette Street. I mean, Lafayette is like tier 2 thoroughfare. in the biggest city in the world. So we're not talking about small stakes here. It's gospel. The cars are blocking the entire artery for about a half mile. It's completely insane. You definitely wouldn't believe it unless you see it. We have great video, and it is blocking ambulances. Like if you don't have a law that prevents ambulances from going up on a sidewalk, then something is obviously severely broken. You got the biggest city in the world. You got a tier 2 thoroughfare that is completely blocked for 4 hours. That could block a fire truck, could block an ambulance, and we've seen that. It's got to be fixed. I mean, this is common sense, and it's like very, very obvious. This is a massive problem. So I came here. I had no idea what the community board was. Nice to meet you all. Hopefully this does something, or else we're going to have to resort to throwing eggs at these taxis. Thanks.
Thank you. We have a question. If you could have,
Microphone go.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk negatively about these, organizations, but there appears to be no law, which makes no sense to me. But they're saying there is no law against blocking an entire street, even if an ambulance can't get through, so we can't and do not, it's not their priority. The cops are on the street. We ran down there and talked to NYPD. They said, talk to the business bureau. I mean, what does that mean? I don't know.
thank you.
Might have to run for office.
Thank you. Another question? Bo?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, did you make an effort to discuss this at the precinct? Or, I mean, you can't just ask a cop on the street.
Nina actually went to the precinct. Yeah, they said they have their own community board meeting. I mean, to be honest, I don't even understand
Okay,
how
well,
low-level
we don't have to
government
belabor
works.
this. I'm just suggesting that you make a concerted effort to have an actual sit-down with somebody in the precinct who's in control, who has some authority.
She actually did go to the precinct. Nina did a lot more effort than me, but that's
Okay.
when you start to feel a little helpless.
Oh,
Just a suggestion, try the 6th Precinct Committee Council meeting, which is coming up. I'm sorry, you're right, my mistake, sorry. But that may be a better option for you. And we'll reach out to who's running.
Hi, I'm from Councilmember Marte's office, and this is in our district. I haven't heard of this issue, so I'll just give you my card. I only have one, sorry, but you can reach out to us and hopefully we can help you. I think it's south of Houston, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we can try to help resolve the issue too. Thank you.
thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
Lois, question? A microphone.
You're in the 1st precinct, not the 6th precinct.
I'm not sure, actually. I don't know.
You should find out.
I believe they know that. I think it was just a mistake.
But just again, I reiterate, we are having the meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Committee in June, and we will be having that subject on our agenda. So just look at our calendar and be sure to attend that meeting.
Anyone else with questions, comments?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Next on the list, I have Kate Madigan. Is Kate Madigan in the room? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kate Madigan. I'm the Government Affairs Coordinator at the Public Theater, and I'm here to announce that our mobile unit is taking place May 29th to 31st in Astor Place. We have a flyer up front. I'll leave some here. It is Director Rebecca Martinez and composer Julian Mesri the Mobile Unit's Comedy of Errors performed last year, reunite for the third consecutive year for this new take on a classic tale of love, deception, misunderstandings, blending Latino influences, original music, and Shakespeare's timeless wit. Presented in mostly English with some Spanish language incorporated, this is a 90-minute, family-friendly, free production designed to be accessible to a wide range of audiences. Mobile Unit visits parks, correctional facilities. Will be at Rikers tomorrow. We were at Metropolitan today, performing for the male population. And more locations in all boroughs are available on our website. Feel free to ask me questions, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
We have a question. Lois, microphone.
Okay, thank you. I received an email regarding this, but it said like you have to reserve a seat, or how do you reserve a seat?
That is mostly for reservation notifications and for us to know how many seats to put out, but it's completely free. You don't need a ticket.
And the seats will be provided at, like, I'm going to go to Astor Place.
Yes, first come, first serve, but you're also encouraged to bring your own folding chair if you would
Okay,
like to make sure.
That's my next question, at 6:30.
6:30.
And do you advise to come like at 6 o'clock or a quarter to 6?
Yes, I would come quarter to 6,
Okay.
6 o'clock to make sure you have a seat front row.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Lois. Any other questions?
I was asked to repeat the dates. It's May 29th to the 31st at 6:30 PM. And we're going to have Councilmember Rivera welcome the show on the 30th. And we hope, we just want to thank to this community board for all your work you do for the public theater and the city council and the legislature. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate, very much. Okay, next I have Janine Kiley.
Hi, I'm here to just remind everyone about the upcoming primary elections. If you are a registered Democrat or a registered Republican, you can vote. If you have not registered to vote, you've recently moved here, or you have family members who recently turned 18, you can register to vote, and the Board of Elections has to receive your ballot by June 14th. I'm telling everybody, if you mail it in or do it online, take a screenshot or a photo, because the Board of Elections is very slow about uploading that information. So the dates for voting, early voting is June 14th to June 22nd. The times vary by day. Election day is Tuesday, June 24. If you want to receive an absentee ballot or by mail ballot, you have to make that request. The Board of Elections has to receive your request 10 days prior to the election, so that's June 4th, and you can fill it out online, and you have to have it postmarked by June 24. All this information is at vote.nyc. You can find out your poll site. If you need to register to vote, you can check your voter registration, check where you would early vote, and so forth. And I do want to talk about ranked choice voting. So this is for all, it's in primaries in New York, for New York City elections. It is not for the general election in November. And I just want to make sure that people make their votes count, and I want to just share some information from 21. The 2021 Democratic primary, Eric Adams defeated Catherine Garcia by about 7,000 votes. However, more than 140,000 ballots ranked less than 5 candidates or didn't rank Garcia or Adams, and if only 5% of those people had put Garcia on their list, she would be mayor now and not Eric Adams. So it's probably most important to rank 5 in the mayoral race. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Any questions? No? Okay, great. Next, I have only a first name, Carlos for 312 Bowery. Is Carlos in the room, or is Carlos online? If you're online, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see Carlos. I'll circle back. Next, we have Andrew Berman. If we could elevate Andrew Berman so that he can speak. He's online, okay. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So on behalf of Village Preservation and 20 other local co-sponsoring organizations, I want to invite all of you to participate in our rally on Sunday, June 1st at 2 p.m. to save the Tony D'Appolito Recreation Center. It's utterly outrageous that the city at first claimed it had no money to repair or even study repairing the center, and now Mayor Adams has allocated $52 million just to demolish it. We've toured the building inside and out, and it's 100% clear the center can be restored, modernized, and brought up to code. We cannot reward years of neglect and deferred maintenance by the city, nor can we allow the precedent to be set of landmark buildings like this one being destroyed simply because the owner doesn't want to take care of it and doesn't want to invest in maintaining or restoring it, even when the owner is the city. It would be deeply ironic and a terrible insult for the city to demolish a center named for a former chair of this body who fought to preserve and protect places and community institutions like this. This structure has served generations from across our neighborhood in the city for over 120 years. During that time, it's adapted to new needs and requirements. It can and should continue to do so with proper funding and care. We're demanding that the mayor's $52 million be used for restoration and that the city council ensure this happens as part of the budget process and kicks in any extra funding as needed to ensure the building's survival. We hope you'll join us a week from this Sunday on June 1st at 2 p.m. to help amplify and convey that message loudly and clearly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Do we have any questions for Andrew in the room or online? Okay, no hands. Okay, thank you, Andrew. Next on the list, we have Ryan Miller here to speak about 77 Bleecker Street. Is Ryan in the room? Okay. Is he, yeah, is Ryan being elevated or? Ryan Miller. Okay. I don't see him in the room either. And I'm going to go back to the other name we had signed up, which is, again, Carlos for 312 Bowery. Carlos, if you are online, raise your hand. I don't have a last name. They just signed up as Carlos. Yeah, I see a Carlos. That's not the Carlos. Okay. All right. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in the public session that did not have a chance to sign up? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, wait, is there a raised hand? Yes. Juan Rivero. Okay. All right, Juan, go ahead and speak.
Good evening. I'm Juan Rivero, Director of Special Projects and Village Preservation, and I wanted to bring your attention to a report that we just put out on the Soho NoHo Chinatown rezoning, evaluating the housing projections that the city made in its study of anticipated impacts of the rezoning. For this evaluation, we compared those projections against what has happened since the rezoning passed 3 1/3 years ago, or 1/3 of the way into the time frame of the city studies. These projections matter because it was on that basis that the merits of the rezoning proposal were debated and that the plan was ultimately approved. And here, in brief, is what we learned. prorating the projections, the city anticipated that between 127 and 191 units of affordable housing would be built by now. Not a single one has been. It anticipated that 610 total housing units would be built. Not a single one has been. As we predicted, commercial development has been built where the city projected housing development, and developers have used loopholes to build luxury housing, still under construction, without including any affordable housing. Developers have also eliminated existing rent-regulated housing to make way for luxury development. This is an outcome that we anticipated, but that the city claimed would not happen. So that's a study. We invite you to take a look at it. You can find it on our website and the link that you can see over here behind me. And the sad thing is that this is not a new story. We did another report back then evaluating the projections made for past rezonings, and it was the same deal. These studies are written to say what the city wants them to say in order to back up its promises and help push rezoning proposals through, but they end up having little relation to what actually ends up happening. In this case, the actual result thus far support the contention that the relaxation of zoning protections offers an inadequate and possibly counterproductive tool with which to address the problem of housing affordability. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Do we have any other questions for Juan about the report? No? Okay. Thank you very much. All right. I think this concludes the public session. Turn it back to you, Valerie.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eugene. So that is the end of our public session. Now we're going to move on to the rest of our agenda. There have been some questions raised regarding the land use resolution. This came up as new business in the committee, and we understand that there are some questions about it, so we are going to move it to new business and address it there. So with that, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Great, thank you. Okay, the amended agenda is adopted. Now we're going to move on to reports to the public, and we will start with our elected official reports. If you would like to come down and line up at the microphone here in the room, and then we'll go to Zoom. So Peter, let's start with you, sure? Thank you. 2 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Peter Say, liaison for the Manhattan District Attorney. Just want to give you an update on prosecution and legislation. This week, we announced prison sentences for 3 defendants for a conspiracy to rob and drug people outside Manhattan nightclubs, mostly in Chelsea Village area, which led to the unfortunate deaths of 2 individuals. So we had Jawan Hamilton and Robert DeMaio. They were convicted, sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. Third defendant, Jacob Barboso, was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. These defendants were previously found guilty on all counts following a jury trial, which included murder, robbery, burglary, and conspiracy. At the same time, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg called for the Cash Apps, Venmo, and Zelle to better protect consumers from fraud, which is the manner where these victims were robbed from. And then I want to cover one piece of legislation. Manhattan District Attorney's Office is working with State Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel's office and New York State Assembly member Linda Rosenthal, announcing new legislation to combat the proliferation of autoseers, which are small, rapid-fire devices that can turn a semi-automatic firearm into a machine gun. Currently, there's a loophole in the law. There's no penalty for sharing information and producing it, so that's what the legislation is. Those are my announcements. Any open to any questions from the community? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Next, we have Biani from the Office of Carlina Rivera.
Hi, my name is Biani Rodriguez, and I am from the Office of Councilmember Carlina Rivera.
I am happy to share that City Council took action to protect New York from impacts of the Trump presidency. Councilmember Rivera joined the Speaker and other colleagues to warn of the dire emergency that President Trump's terrorists could create for New York City's economy. And the coalition called on New York City's congressional delegation to take action to protect the city and state from potentially losing $20 billion in funding that our families need. And of course, we are continuing to push forward the Community Land Act to address housing affordability. And on April 23rd, the City Council held an oversight hearing on the city's outdoor dining program. Carlina shared concerns with the administration that local community boards are requesting more time and more resources to review application and asked questions about the Department of Transportation capacity to grow and adhere to the process outlined in the law. Earlier this week, we also organized a walkthrough of McDougal along with the Community Board, the Small Business Service, and the Department of Transportation to offer resources to our small businesses in McDougal and ensure that the outdoor dining program is successful. I'm also happy to share the winners of participatory budgeting. We were able to invest a total of over $1 million, and we provided funding for bathroom upgrades for Bard Early College, a new soccer field for the Lower East Side Playground, an auditorium air conditioning for the Star Academy, a new STEM lab for the Children's Workshop, and again, more bathroom upgrades for the Union Square Academy. And as always, we continue to have our bi-weekly small business clinic. If anybody has any questions about the clinic, you can reach me at 212-677-1077 or email us at district2@council.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Go ahead, sorry.
This is Connor from Councilmember Christopher Marte's office. I'm just going to go over a couple things. First, legislation. So Councilmember Marte, along with Councilmember Keith Powers, recently announced upcoming legislation to go after ticket scammers in Battery Park. If you've been to the park, you've likely seen dozens of these vendors harassing tourists, even coming up to cars claiming to sell ferry tickets to the Statue of Liberty, but actually just either taking them around the island or to New Jersey, sadly. So, yeah, I know, right? It's like devastating. I'm just stating facts. So I had, and so the legislation targets the companies that hire these vendors, and it will issue penalties and revoke licenses if the kind of harassment continues or is witnessed. So we're excited to do that. The council member is also partnering with Councilmember Farrah Lewis to introduce two pieces of legislation which kind of get at the same issue, which is city bike discounts for seniors and for teenagers, similar to student Metro cards or senior Metro cards. City bike can often be cost prohibitive to these groups, so we're excited to address that with this bill to provide that kind of discounted service for City Bike. There's going to be an announcement and a press conference at a City Bike dock next to City Hall on Chambers and Center Streets on Wednesday, May 28th at 10, if anyone would like to join. Also, last year, our constituent reached out to our office because his landlord wouldn't let him put up a mezuzah on his apartment door, explaining that that the building had a ban on all door decorations because of fire safety, and this included religious items. It turns out that that was very legal for the building to do that, but obviously something like a mezuzah is not very much of a fire hazard. So the council member is introducing legislation to prohibit this ability, and is working to ensure that the FDNY still has the ability to prevent certain hazardous decorations and things, but just to give people the right for religious freedom on their front door. I'm sorry, I know I'm going over. PB results also are in participatory budgeting for our district. PS 124 in Chinatown came out victorious with over 2,000 votes, and so they're going to be getting $1 million in renovations for their playground. It's very exciting. And then we're also, there are a couple other popular items on the list that we're hoping to fund through that we will be funding through other sources, including Barnett Newman Triangle in Tribeca and playground for PS 42 in the Lower East Side as well. Also, in terms of events, DOT Commissioner Idanis Rodriguez is holding a public forum at Henry Street Settlement on May 29th, 5 to 6:30 p.m. So we just wanted to let people know about that in case they wanted to go to bring up any transportation priorities. And then finally, in the continued fight to protect healthcare and city retirees from the mayor's plan to force them onto Medicare Advantage, some unions are spreading some misinformation about our bill, Intro 1096. So, in order to dispel some of this misinformation, the council member is hosting a town hall on the topic on Thursday, June 5th at 6 p.m. at the Manny Cantor Center on 197 East Broadway. And so we'll be going over all those issues. And I have a flyer that looks like this, and it's on the front table. If people want to register for that, we're really excited. It's going to be a great panel discussion.
We have a question from Susanna. Can we get her a microphone? If we can get a...
I think that elected officials, representatives have 2 minutes, so I think you need to tailor reports to fit into those 2 minutes.
If I can handle that, he was wrapping up, so if you could, yeah. I think you were done, right?
I'm done, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. So. Katie? Can we get Katie a microphone?
I was hoping you could briefly comment about the charter revision commissions that we're facing. Your comments are always welcome.
Okay. Yeah, so as you might know, the charter vision, so there's 2 charter vision commissions technically, one by the council and one by the mayor. And there's this issue where the mayor is able to basically trump a council-sponsored charter vision commission by just creating his own. So that's kind of what's been happening now. There's state legislation to try to address that issue, but it's in the meantime, the one I would say to really look out for is the mayor's city charter revision commission. They haven't put out any firm recommendations yet, but because it's a charter revision, they can change a lot of really core elements of our city government. We know that they're trying to, they're looking at ULURP, at development, at member deference, some of these things that we're familiar with. So I would definitely keep an eye on it. There were a number of hearings that happened. They put out a preliminary staff report that talked about some of the things that they might be issuing recommendations on. But just so you know, and you can reach out to our office for more information, but any charter visions have to go through a citywide popular election. So we would be on a ballot potentially in November. So just keep an eye out for that. And just try to stay aware of what they're actually proposing. They're going to make it sound maybe better than it is, or, you just have to be careful. So, and feel free to reach out to our office if you want to learn more.
Thank you, Connor. Next, we have Nicole Barth from the office of Eric Botcher.
Thank you, everybody. I also want to announce our PB winners. In 4th place, we had initial funding for renovations at Hell's Kitchen Park. In 3rd place, we had bathrooms for Quest to Learn. I might be mixing these two up, but in 2nd place, we had tree guards on the avenue, and in 1st place, tech for libraries. So thank you to everybody who voted. It was a really great cycle for PB. Just a few events coming up. We have a movie in Gansevoort Plaza on June 2nd. Starts at 8:15. The movie is called Sally. They did very well at Sundance and South by Southwest. On June 7th, this is out of CB2, but we have an e-waste event in Hell's Kitchen at Manhattan Plaza, and that goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call the office if you want more information. And we are going to have DOB in our office on June 4th from 11 to 2 p.m., 15-minute increment appointments, and you can sit down and talk about your case with the DOB representative.
A couple of resolutions are going to be introduced by the council member next week. A resolution in support of federal strengthening of Medicaid for mental illness, expands Medicaid coverage for individuals seeking treatment for serious mental illness, and that bill was sponsored by Dan Goldman and Kristen Gillibrand. Resolution in support of the State Support Act requires hospitals and other mental health facilities to assign care management teams before the defendant's release, and that was sponsored by DA Bragg and Brad Hoylman and Tony Simone. And lastly, Eric will be introducing a resolution to support the Help Harness Expertise of Licensed Professionals Act, and that expands a pool of mental health professionals able to perform clinical evaluations. That was sponsored by Brad Hoylman Siegel and Micah Lasher. And just want to say we have all our same clinics and everything, so call the office if you need more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And next we're going to go online, or do we have any questions for Nicole? Do you have? Well, if you have, you do have something to say, so you will need the microphone. So if someone can give Bo the microphone.
I just wanted to point out that Eric successfully killed the Wynn Casino proposal for Hudson Yards.
Yes.
And I think it's really took a lot of nerve to do that, and we're very appreciative.
Yes, it's been a very busy week in our office. Thank you for saying that. I'll let him know.
Thanks. Nicole is being very good about sticking to things in CB2, as we had discussed earlier. Nothing on you, just that's probably why it wasn't brought up. Thank you, Nicole. President.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Andrew here from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. I'll try to be quick since we started late. One, congratulations to everybody who's newly appointed to community boards. Most of y'all are in the room today, and some of y'all couldn't make it, and some are online. So thank you for coming out to your first full board meeting, and thank you to those who served on the board but decided not to reapply. We had over 950 applications for both new applicants and reapplicants throughout the borough of Manhattan. And then the next related thing is term limits. They're posted on our website. You know, each community board member has term limits now because due to a previous charter revision commission. Please visit the manhattanbp.nyc.gov website to find out your term limit. It's next to your name. And then recently, the borough president participated at a rally. Borough President Mark Levine participated at a rally in urging Albany to pass the Stop Super Speeders bill. This legislation would mandate speed limiter technology for the most dangerous drivers on our street. And as my colleague Connor Allerton mentioned, the Manhattan Borough President was also supportive of the legislation, Councilmember Marte and Councilmember Powers' illegal ticket vending legislation regarding the, especially in the Battery where people are selling tickets and duping tourists to go around the Statue of Liberty and actually go on the island. So yeah, the Borough President of Manhattan is very supportive of the legislation that the council members introduced. The Borough President recently urged the Rent Guidelines Board to vote for a rent freeze for rent-stabilized tenants in 2025. The Rent Guidelines Board had a preliminary vote, and the final vote will be on Wednesday, the 25th of June. Public hearings are ongoing until then. Please Google Rent Guidelines Board 2025 meetings if you want to, submit public testimony input regarding the vote. And I guess the last few things I want to mention is that, there are a couple of Manhattan housing lotteries that are closing soon, particularly in the Lower East Side. Please go to housingconnect.nyc.gov if you want to apply for these public housing projects. And then we're going to be marching in Puerto Rican Day Parade on Sunday, the 8th of June.
All right.
If you want to join us, let us know. That's it. Thank you.
Questions for Andrew? We can get Rocio a microphone, please. We could just leave one on one side and leave one on the others, and if everyone could kind of help move those, it would be really great. So Mark can not have to go up and down, please.
Thank you, Andrew, for presenting today. I have a question. Will the borough president be interested in also discussing the expenses that property owners have to endure? How the costs of running a building have increased immensely, real estate taxes and everything else. Will he be willing to try to get our real estate taxes lowered so that we can maintain our buildings, so our tenants can live beautifully in our buildings?
I can't necessarily answer the entire question, but I can help schedule a meeting between you and our policy team to help discuss this in depth. So I will follow up with you later. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Andy? I'm sorry. Okay, so next we're going to go to Robin Forst on Zoom, the mayor's office.
Hi, everybody. I know you got off to a late start, so I will be very brief. In the category of Let's Go Knicks, one additional benefit to the Knicks' presence in the postseason is the economic activity that is generated to the tune of $91 million for each home playoff game. So if they go all the way, we're looking at $832 million in economic activity. So thank you, Knicks, and try to make that happen. The other thing I wanted to mention to you a little bit more somber is the creation of a memorial called Flames of Honor that is been developed to honor fallen soldiers post 9/11 in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. It's going to, it was just announced, it's going to be constructed in the Whitestone neighborhood of Queens, which actually is home to the largest number of veterans in New York City. And the 100 service members from New York, plus 7,000 from other places around the country. It's a lovely looking memorial, and it's a, it's a tribute to the loss of life, and also, to commemorate the bravery and the bravery and the loss of life. So with that, I will stop. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise,
Robin,
will.
perfect timing. Does anyone in the room have a question for Robin? Janine. Can we get Janine a microphone? Thank you.
Hi, Janine. I can't hear you.
In light of the spectacular collapse of the Knicks last night, would it be possible to take down those street co-namings? Because everyone thinks that jinxed it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass that on.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. Anyone else have a comment or a question for Robin? I'm sorry, somebody else talking online? Oh. Hey, Kate, if we could keep it, if you have something to talk about, if you could take it outside. This applies to anyone talking right now. Any other questions for Robin? Okay, so next we're going to move on to Alex Frazier. Is Alex online? From AM Assemblymember
Yes.
Grace Lee's office? Great.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'll keep my remarks brief. So as most people know, the legislature recently passed a state budget. It was very late, but a lot of thought was put into it. There was a lot of negotiation, and there's definitely some victories that I wanted to share tonight. Firstly, in the realm of childcare, the state has been, is facing a huge shortfall of funding. And the legislature delivered over $200 billion in childcare in this year's budget to ensure families across the state have access to affordable, quality childcare services. And we also, part of that $2 billion, have secured $350 million for New York City. Additionally, in terms of helping small businesses and supporting workers, the state is going to be paying $8 billion back in pandemic debt on unemployment insurance. So eliminating this debt really helps to reduce the financial burden on small businesses. And in turn, we're also increasing unemployment benefits from $504 to $869 per week to help workers. Lastly, in terms of the budget, we also established a historic $1 billion investment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This is the most significant budget funding for states' climate priorities in U.S. history. And we also are providing an additional $250 million for clean transportation. In terms of events that we are hosting next week, we have a huge 2-day summit in Albany, the AAPI Summit. There's going to be a welcome reception Thursday, May 29th at night, and then May 30th, that Friday, is our main day of workshops. We're going to be having buses leaving first thing in the morning, 5:30 a.m. out of Lower Manhattan, so Chinatown and Lower Manhattan, and then also in Queens, Brooklyn, and Bronx. And the tickets to the day of workshops are free, so I'll make sure to put that information in the chat. And then lastly, I'll also give my own contact information if anyone has any other questions they want to ask of our office.
Thank you so much. Do we have anyone with questions in the room? Seeing none, we're going to move forward. Thank you so much. Next, we have Carlos Rondon from Congressman Dan Goldman's office.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This month, Congressman Goldman has focused on protecting essential services and advocating for public safety and community-based care. He reintroduced the Strengthening Medicaid for Serious Mental Health Illness Act, which sets national standards and funds community-based services for those with serious mental illness. He also, on the clean energy front, after the Trump administration halted the Empire One project, New York's second largest offshore wind farm, Congressman Goldman led a successful campaign to reverse the decision. This project will now bring clean energy to over 500,000 homes and support 1,500 union jobs. On public safety, we celebrated the launch of the nation's first e-bike battery swap hub with a startup called Pop Wheels, addressing the lithium-ion battery fire crisis. He also co-sponsored legislation to set safety standards for these batteries. With regard to Social Security, Congressman Goldman denounced efforts by the Trump administration to defund and dismantle the Social Security Administration, standing with advocates and constituents to defend vital benefits. On gun violence prevention, he reintroduced the Prosper Act, which funds community-led programs aimed for curbing gun violence, critical at a time when federal grants have been slashed. And lastly, on volunteer first responders, he also introduced the HEROES Act to extend student loan forgiveness to volunteer firefighters and EMTs, who are the backbone of emergency services across New York City. That's all for me.
Okay, great. Oh, you had about 25 seconds, so very nice. Any questions for Carlos in the room or online? I can't see hands, so if there are hands, if someone could let me know. Okay. So with that, are there any other elected officials and reps or officials online or in the room that I did not call on? Please raise your hand. Is there something in the chat? Okay, thank you. I see it now. Okay. Okay, so with that, I am going to, we're going forward. So now we will go to the chair's report. So very quickly, I know that we have limited time, so I'm going to actually shorten my report. The chair's report, we are 50 strong again. We are at chapter total or board total, I guess you will. We welcome to our new board members. We have 9 new board members. I know some of them are here, and we'll get to them in just a second. So some trends before I quickly have them just quickly stand up, say their name so we can all know who they are. They will say what neighborhood they live in and one thing you like to do in CB2. That's it. So that way maybe there's something in common. Somebody will come up and introduce themselves to you. So really quick trends, 88% of the new members live in Greenwich Village and or the West Village. 11% in Soho, that's one person. 11% in this is one person. 78% live in zip code 10011, and two parents. I wrote 2 players. Parents are, yeah, 2 parents were appointed, so that's always fun. So those are the top line trends. let's see, average years of living in CB2 is 10, and average years living in New York City is 20. The median was 3 years living in CB2 and 15 years living in New York City. And I believe we have 5 or 6 of them here with us tonight, and I believe we have one online. So if you could quickly, just very, very quickly, if we get someone could help pass the microphone just very quickly, I think it's important, everyone. Let's start with Nina.
Nina Chen, live on West 9. And I'm hope to learn more about what the issues are here.
Sure,
Thanks.
great, perfect. Yeah, you can say one line or one thing you like to do in CB2.
I go by JJ. I live on West 13th, and I like going to Julia's for a drink, or Bar 6 for dinner, or News Bar Cafe for coffee. So.
Great, okay, so there you go, great.
Hi, I'm Brent Rossler. I also live on West 13th Street. And I just like to people watch in the A's Memorial Park across the street.
I'm Matthew Pereira. I live on West 14th Street, and I like to use the piers of Hudson River Park.
Nice.
Hey, Paul McDade, live on West 12th Street and like to run the West Side Highway.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sean Sweeney. I live in Soho. I like to hang out on the park benches at Quad Fagan's.
Welcome back, Sean. Sean is previously a full board member and was a public member. So did we get everyone in the room, right? 6? And I know we got Sean online, so if we can go to Sean Ryan online.
Sean Ryan on West 12th Street. Sorry I could be there in person tonight. Love to take my dog for a walk along the water. Thank you.
All right, there we go, great. And then 2 others that are not here with us this evening, they're absent with notification, are Monica Desai-Weiss and Rashawn Jane. So hopefully we'll have all 9 here in the room in June. And thank you very much. So let me just see if I had anything else quickly to announce. So that was good, right? We like that, right? That was good. Okay. The final part of the Empire State Development New York Forward projects for Hudson Square were announced. So last February, Governor Hochul had awarded $4.5 million to Hudson Square bid, and there's several projects, that's all in CB2, and I will be reaching out to the leadership teams of land use, traffic and transportation, and there's a press release online. I'm not going to read all of them, but there's a significant amount of money, I think over $1 million for the New York City Fire Museum, and there's all sorts of things for Hudson Houston Plaza, but I out specifically to the leadership teams of land use, traffic and transportation, and landmarks with more specifics about those projects as they might inform your budget request for your committees, and also what didn't get funded from that. I sat on the local planning committee, and I can also offer some additional. And then my last point is that, contrary to popular belief that you might see elsewhere, Dining Out NYC is a success in CB2. We have twice as many outdoor cafes now compared to the pre-pandemic sidewalk cafe program, and the cost to participate is 55% less than the old program. That is a big win for our small businesses and the local economy. I, myself, and Mark Diller, and went on a walkthrough of McDougal Street with Councilmember Rivera the other day, and DOT, and Small Business Services, food and beverage. So it was very successful, and lots of opportunities to improve the program on that stretch. So any questions for me on that, on anything? Rich? I'm so glad that you asked that. I didn't even set that up. Like, we didn't even plan this. So let me just quickly, I would like, thank you. So let me just pull some, I'm not going to pull up but there's a point on here I wanted to bring up. Just give me 1 second. So I will repeat the question. Yeah, so the question was, and this is good, because I addressed this in a different way, and it also is one other thing, announcement I wanted to make. So let me just go to that really quickly, because I have that written up here. I'm not sharing anything, I'm just pulling up my thing. So if you were on the Monday, We did, everyone has been oriented, so we did the new board member orientation. Mark and I held 2 sessions, one on Monday evening, and then one Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. So what a way to start the day. So it will be within the next, hopefully month. Really would like to get those settled and get people into their routines. What goes into committee assignments are as follows. The needs of the board to undertake our charter mandated duties, the number of board members on each committee, balancing out the mix of term limited board members and board members with post 2030 term limits, and finding a mutual fit. So I will be reaching out to committee chairs about the needs of your committee with a formal Google Forms survey. I will also have a conversation as well. To the new board members, they've been told to go check out committees. And also, thank you for asking this question because I almost forgot about this second part, which I'll go to in just a second. I really emphasize to those that were on the Wednesday new member board orientation, that every committee is an opportunity for growth, and I offer that to all board members, that every board member here has the potential to be a great committee member on any of the 10 standing committees. Board member development is going to be a part of what we are going to bring to each of you, and I also will be reaching out to pre-appointed board members that were on the 2025 cycle about where you are termed out in 2027 to, I want to listen, I want to know what are some things you, that are within our charter mandated duties, are you looking for areas of growth because that we can meet our charter mandated duties and also have an opportunity for board member growth. That's something I'm really trying to champion here for those in those last 2 years. So with that, the last part that I will quickly go over so we can get to our business session is we are instituting a board buddies program. So I've identified 9 members that were serving on the board that will be paired with a new board member. So those assignments will be coming the next week, and hopefully that will be a complement to the new board members as they are going to committees. They'll have a familiar face perhaps to be introduced. It is a very, very low lift. It's once a quarter, a Zoom or a phone call, and then as you want to take it, it can be more than that. It could be a coffee, but there's no expectation from either individual. So I'm hoping that is successful, and I welcome any feedback on that. So any questions on anything? Okay. So now we will go to the treasurer's report.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your quarterly treasurer's report. Not much excitement here, but I just want to highlight we did have a lucrative street fair this year. We had estimated that we would get $6,000 like the year prior, but instead we actually earned $91.42. The rest of the till the end of the year, we're expected to still spend another $58,000. That will mostly go towards personnel and some other equipment purchases that Mark and Valerie are planning out. Some new laptops, I believe, that we need replacing in the office.
Yes.
Yes, and other costs. And that's the report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. So next, we're going to go to the district manager's report.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Mark Diller. I'm the district manager for anybody who hasn't met me yet. My first note is Mark Moss is usually the person from Harris who is with us and facilitating these meetings. He arranged from his sickbed at the hospital to make sure that this meeting was covered. So I hope you'll join me in wishing him Godspeed, and many thanks to Brandon for filling in at the very last minute. Many thanks also, continuing thanks to NYU for the use of this very convenient and great room. Valentine is watching online, but she's still with us, so thank you, Valentine, as well as Arlene and Dorothy and everybody who comes to our aid in these things. In the interest of time, I'm going to shortcut this to say that some of you may know that the community board's budget, the office budget, hasn't changed in 16 years, other than dollar for dollar increases to match the collective bargaining changes that come along. By the way, I think there's one this month for the staff, so that's welcome news. We testified, a bunch of us district managers, hopefully more articulately than that, testified at the Government Ops Committee, and we have a little bit of traction. We're hoping that they will consider some kind of an increase that is baseline, not just the one-off that was sent our way pre-pandemic. Some of you may remember this. Somebody in Brooklyn bought a car with it. A couple of quick notes about meeting changes. First of all, I think you all know, but full board is on a Wednesday in June, and that's because Juneteenth is our usual meeting date, and we don't meet on city holidays. So there's going to be a little bit of a compressed time for the board package, and we'll be talking more about that. Also, I wanted to highlight that SLA 1 and 2 will be in this room, and I think Donna's working on a possible early start time. So stay tuned on that. Look at the website to make sure that we're all in coordination. The reason for that, we are booked with the hospital all the way through November, which is as far as they'll let us book. But we're in the hospital because they're renovating the church. Well, now they're renovating the hospital too. And tomorrow we hope to get out the calendar for June meetings with agendas. So anybody that hasn't done so, please make sure that comes to the office. Unless there are questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so with that, we are going to move to business session. So we are going to start with a roll call, not roll call.
All right, folks. Susanna Aaron. Keen Berger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Anita Brandt. Amy Brenna.
Here.
Thanks, Amy, got you. Rich Kakapolo. Ritu Chatri. Here. Thank you. Nina Chen. Nina? Oh, yeah.
有个新的中国人，新的亲。
Valerie De La Rosa.
要
Chris
简单的
Dickens. Arturo Fernandez. Mar Fitzgerald. Stella Fitzgerald.
弄丢了，弄丢了。
Susan Gammy. David Gruber. JJ Herrera. Juliette Kay. Susan Ken. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Oh, Patricia's here, got her. Benjamin Listman. Ed Moth.
Yes, here.
Thanks, Ed. Paul McDade. Brian Pape. Matthew Pereira. Donna Raftery. Lois Rakoff. Bo Riccobono. Brant Rossler. Sean Ryan.
Here.
Thanks, Sean. Rocio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel.
Here.
Thank you. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith. Thanks, Dr. Smith. Susan Wittenberg. Oh, excuse me, Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thank you. Sean Sweeney. Susan Wittenberg. Anthony Wong. Eugene Yu. Beautiful. Everyone's still here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so now everyone should have gotten a copy of the April full board minutes. Are there any changes, or do we have a motion to adopt the April full board minutes? Okay, second. Okay, great. Those are approved. And let's move on to the resolutions from our standing committees. To the new board members, there are 4 ways to vote. You are a full board member. You can vote in favor, you can oppose, you can abstain, or you can recuse. The recusal is when you have a personal or economic gain. If you have any questions about that, the COIB website that we discussed, and orientation is available to quickly search. And I will call for those votes we'll call for them one by one in terms of the in favor, oppose, abstain, or recuse. So with that, so committee chairs, please just state that therefore be it resolved in your resolution. We are operating with the sense that board members have read the resolutions in the full board packet. And again, if there's any conversation taking place in the back, if you could please move that outside. So we are, with land use, we moved that to new business already. And so next we will go, which I discussed when we adopted the agenda. So next we're going to go to human services.
Hi there. We had two resolutions and we did not have quorum. The first is a resolution supporting direct rodent abatement. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan No. 1 welcomes the city's focus on rat abatement and is grateful for its particular attention to neighborhoods in CB2 where high rates of tourism and indoor and outdoor restaurants encourage rodent activity. And two, calls for the budget of the city's rat abatement program in CB2 to prioritize treatment of tree pits at city expense rather than penalizing residential owners with fines in cases where they comply with trash containerization rules and general sanitary regulations. And then the second resolution is a resolution in support of monitoring the impact of services lost with the closure of Beth Israel Hospital. Therefore, be it resolved that Community Board 2 Manhattan calls for ongoing monitoring and transparent public reporting on the impact of Mount Sinai Beth Israel Hospital's closure on patient volumes, service quality, and emergency care at Northwell Greenwich Village Hospital. And number two, given that NGVH's additional services are not planned to include a CPAP for psychiatric emergencies, nor the ability to address trauma or critical pediatric cases, urges the city to ensure that these community needs continue to be met despite the closure of MSBI. And as I said, we had no quorum, so we had no votes.
Okay, we have a question from Rocio. Can we get her a microphone, please? And then Keene will go next.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you for your report. I have a question for you. Do you think rats discriminate? Do you think rats know the food from a restaurant versus the food from a building that has many units and they're not composting and not doing what they're... So it's always picking on the restaurants and picking on the outside dining spots. So,
well, this is
just a comment.
This is just about the way the city is inspecting for rat abatement and issuing fines in cases where property owners are not taking care of their property. And what this resolution says that in cases where it's not the property owner's fault that the rats are walking around their house because they're containing their garbage normally and everything, that there are city property that the city's supposed to be taking care of. Tree pits are one of those, and we have thousands of tree pits in our district, and those are not the property owner's responsibility.
I saw, and just one comment, I saw in the news that a community board uptown, I forget which one was, is doing a great job in reducing the amount of rats that are in the neighborhood because they hired, community board actually hired their own exterminator to go from tree pit to tree pit, and they have a huge reduction in rat activity in that neighborhood. So maybe community board 2 can take some of that money and use it that way.
Bully for them. That sounds great.
Okay, great. Any other, Keene, you had a comment? Yeah, okay.
Keene, you need a microphone. You can sit where you are if you
Oh,
want,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah.
need the microphone.
Yeah.
This is really important, so I want to make sure that I got the right mic. I'm going to vote no. I'm on this committee. I'm going to vote no on this rat abatement because I do not welcome the city spending 102 people who are paid for by the city to stop rats. Instead, I think what the city should do is maybe hire 102 teachers, because if we hired 102 teachers for all the schools below Manhattan, that would be 4 more teachers per school, and children would learn more. And I think one of the jobs of community board is to express our values to the city. And to me, a value of how we spend 3.2 million on killing rats is not what we should be doing. And if we have 3.2 million, we should spend it somewhere else. Yes, education would be my choice, but I'm not asking us to decide where it should go. All I'm asking is to say 3.2 million and 102 people in the city should not focus on rats, should focus on many other important things that the city should do. So I'm voting no, but I think maybe somebody else will also vote no on number 1. Suzanne's a great chair, but this is not anti-Suzanne. This is anti-rat.
It's anti-Suzanne. Are there any other questions? All right, thanks. Are you voting this at the end, or?
Oh, yes, thank you. Let me, okay, so we have items 1 through 2 for human services. Are there any items anyone wants to call out or any clarification? What does that mean for our new members? If you could not yell out, I would appreciate it, number 1. I will explain. So right now, we are going to take these 2 resolutions on human services as an omnibus voted together. Sometimes when there are additional items to be discussed or debated, it'll be pulled out, and then it'll be discussed separately, and then the other ones will be voted, so it'll just be voted on separately. So if there's anything anyone wants to call out, otherwise, we're going to take them together, 1 through 2, for human services. And then if there's, let's say you want to vote for one and against the other one, so just let us know. And Emma here will record it, and it'll be this great, you could get all of your records at the end of the year from Emma or something, and make a pie chart. Ryder, did you have a question? Okay, great, wonderful. Is there, excuse me, if there's something you have a question about, if we could get a microphone to a board member, because if there is a question, I cannot repeat it online. It's great when it comes from you.
Okay, I just want to make sure how we do that, because I want to vote yes on 2 and no on 1.
Okay, well, Emma, we'll
How
call
does
the
that
vote.
work?
So
Can we call it out or not?
we will do, Emma, you handle, we want to go to the vote. So Ryder, do you have something you want to say?
The question I was going to ask you answered, but Keen raised that it's a bit confusing.
Okay.
Even if things are voted on together, you don't have to vote the same way. You can, even when we're voting in omnibus, you can say, I vote yes on this, but no on that.
So
Okay?
here's how it's going to go. So is there any unwillingness to vote on human services items 1 through 2 together? All those in favor, we are voting right now. Okay, so is there any unwillingness to vote on human services items 1 through 2? Can you get a microphone?
Yes, but if everyone's voting aye, are they voting yes on 1 and 2? That is the question.
Yes, unless you have a call out. Oh, I'd like to, okay. It's like everyone's a new member today. It's all good, right? So many leading questions. Okay, is there any unwillingness to vote on human services items 1 through 2? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? So if you, now, this is the time where if you do have a split vote, raise your hand and then we'll document those and you can get a microphone and say your name and what you're voting on. That way we can let the people online and at home know what's happening in here. Yeah?
Thank you,
Okay.
Valerie. So
So
anyone
say your name.
opposed, please.
So I'm no on 1 and yes on 2.
Can you say your name for?
And
Thank
I'm
you, Keen.
Keen Berger.
Thank you. It also just helps the new members too.
Anybody else opposed? Anybody
Okay.
abstaining or recusing? Thanks, folks.
So Human Services items 1 through 2 carry. Now we are going to go to landmarks and Chenault Spence for the report.
Okay,
We could keep it just to the therefore be it resolves. I know that there are two committee reports.
are you saying you don't want me to read the resolution?
I was just saying just to the therefore be it resolves, please, because we are on a tight schedule this evening.
Okay, the item is 142 Green Street. We approved the careful restoration of the cast iron facade, including removal of the fire escapes, the green color, and the ground floor infill, and approval of the rear addition, provided that there is space for air and light. Denial of the design for the penthouse and a recommendation that it be modified to a style that is more harmonious with the building. Approve the sub-cellar excavation and underpinning, provided that all regulations and procedures are followed to ensure the integrity of the building and neighboring buildings. 247 Bleecker Street. Absolute denial of the inappropriate pink color for the facade and the signs, and the applicant returned to CB2 Landmarks Committee with a proposal for repainting the facade and signs in a color that is appropriate to the historic district. Approval of the blade design and sign band lettering design, provided that they are in accord with the regulations and are a color and font that is appropriate to the historic building. 36 West 11th Street. Approve the demolition of the extension, denial of the rooftop addition and glass railing, and that it be replaced with a harmonious design. Denial of the design of the rear facade unless there's a less bold delineation, and various other historic considerations about the design. 160 West 10th Street. Approval of the careful facade restoration, provided the lighting fixtures are of a historic design suitable to the building, and the existing bumpers be replaced in the bays to recall the use as a garage entrances. Approval of the added penthouse floors and the rebuilding of the rear portion of the building to provide a greater garden area. Shall I go on to 2?
We just finished with the
That's
landmarks
all
one.
of one. Of the
Okay,
first
so let's handle those first, and we'll go to the next one. So we have 4 resolutions to vote on from the landmarks 1 meeting. You have a question? Yes, if we can get a microphone.
Yes, I want to call out number 1.
You want to call out number 1? Okay. Is there any other call outs? Otherwise, we'll call that out, and then we will vote on items 2 through 4, and then go back to number 1. Does that sound good? So now we have 3 resolutions to vote on. Landmarks 1, resolution numbers 2 through 4. Are there any other clarification questions about those? And is there any unwillingness to vote on landmarks 1, items 2 through 4? Okay, seeing that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, so now we're going to go to item 1 to discuss, which is 142 Green Street. So would you like to say something about that?
Yes,
Okay.
well, it says it's being converted from commercial to single-family residential use. There's a section of the zoning resolution called 74-711, which is not used very much anymore, where if you would have a property owner change from commercial, let's say to residential, you would have to improve the building, and if it was a significant restoration, landmarks would request the Buildings Department, I guess, city planning to permit that change of occupancy, change of use. Now this, they're not asking for anything, which even is exemplary, except it's not commercial use. The C of O on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor had 5 joint live-work quarters for artists, for certified artists. Now there's going to be 1 family there, so we're displacing 5 units of housing, probably affordable housing, for 1 luxury housing. So I think it's a wonderful thing what they're doing, but if they were not to do this, then they probably wouldn't want to live there, and maybe we would have 5 people living there instead of 1 very wealthy family. So just on principle alone, although I love the restoration, I'm going to vote no, because this is, as Village Preservation mentioned earlier, this is a result of the Soho rezoning. It's another one of the failures. So I'm going to vote no.
Thank you very much. Janine?
I was just looking up the data on this. It's a double wide city lot, so it's 50 feet wide, 100 feet deep. So it's a more than 5,000 square foot lot. And so this is going to be a 24,000 square foot building if the unless, and possibly larger if they get the penthouse. I know it complies with landmarks, but I'm voting no on principle as well. Thank you.
As truly offensive as this use is, the fact of the matter is that the Landmarks Committee does not adjudicate use issues. And when it comes to a 74-711 application, the role that the Landmarks Committee plays is to make a judgment about whether the level, if it is coming through as a 74-711, whatever it is, that what our role is to substantiate that the level of restoration justifies the use of that avenue. We are not the ones who provide any kind of imprimatur of appropriateness of use. So to be perfectly clear here, although it is a truly loathsome conversion, it is not within the purview of the Landmarks Committee to discuss or to adjudicate the use issue. And only if it were 74-711, it would only be to weigh in on the level of restoration and whether it met a standard for a 74-711, which is not the case here. So just to clarify.
And furthermore, 74-711 must be brought to us. We don't initiate a discussion or approval of that. And I could say this is probably one of the finest restorations we have ever seen of any building in the district. And it would many times over surpass the minimum for 74-711.
I had Arturo, and then I'll go to Carter.
I just want to thank Board Member Sweeney for bringing up that important historical context. I do also oppose conversions where we lose a number of housing for luxury housing, whether it's multiple family units, joint living quarters units, affordable housing. So I also will be voting no.
Thank you. I also highly recommend to anyone, I will call him, Ed Carter next. So Carter, if you could get yourself a microphone while I say this, I highly recommend watching the Landmarks 1 committee meeting. It's quite a set of applications that evening. It starts out with this 142 granted, so I highly recommend everyone take a look at that, just for your own education purposes. Carter? And then we'll go to Susan Wittenberg and Susanna.
If I'm wrong, but we won't probably be seeing many more 74-711s in Soho because residential use is allowed. And previously, 74-711s were used in order to permit housing where the underlying zoning didn't allow it. So while I just don't think that that's relevant any longer, the 74-711s where we used to have a say, we don't anymore. So want to go back to what Susan was saying, as far as what the purview of the committee is, because I think if there were enough votes that our resolution did not carry and it was not presented to the Landmarks Preservation Commission, then any of our opining on the actual landmarks application would not be presented.
Thank you. And we had and then Susanna, and then was there anyone else? Okay, so I didn't see.
I need to say one more thing, please, Valerie.
Okay.
It's very important that we weigh in because we have, if you'll notice, the penthouse we recommended denial of, and it's the one thing that shows that would end up being offensive from the landmarks point of view, and we should be able to comment on that. So I urge that it be passed.
Okay, so next Susan Wittenberg and then Susanna Aaron.
I appreciate the care given to the exterior restoration of the building, and as I'm on land use, I understand the difference in the two committees. But I do think the reason that I also will vote against this is because one thing that wasn't discussed with the massive renovation is the destruction of the interior, which also is very important as a landmarks issue. And we saw just this week, or maybe even just today, where the interior of the old Whitney building was preserved, as well as the exterior in the transfer to Sotheby's. So that's why I'm going to be voting no on this, even though I understand the beauty of the restoration. Thank you.
I'm not on this committee, and I don't have an opinion either way about anything, and I know nothing about 74-711, but I think it's a bad precedent for any committee to use its committee to make a comment about something else. I mean, I think that the purpose of the Landmarks Committee is to address landmarks issues, and if there are other issues, those should be addressed by other committees. I think the concern about it is that it ends up delegitimizing the opinions of the Landmarks Committee. If everyone feels that the Landmarks Committee is being used to try to correct other things that are wrong in the system, no one's really going to pay much attention to the Landmarks Committee. So I think it's better for everyone to stay in their lane, and that's all.
Is there any, Ryder, did you have anything? Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this? Is there any unwillingness to vote on resolution number 1 from Landmarks 1 meeting? Okay, just one second. Okay, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, so if we could hold your hands up and Emma will call you off one by one. If you could say their names out loud, that would be helpful so people online know.
Sounds good, will do. So I have Susan Wittenberg, you can put your hand down. Sean Sweeney, you can put your hand down. Janine Kiley. David Gruber. Lois Rakoff. Keen Berger. Stella Fitzgerald. Susan Kent. Oh, Arturo back there. Is there anybody I missed? Oh, thank you, Arturo. Ritu, I've got your hand. Thank you so much.
Okay, I got to finish the rest of it. So we, in favor, opposed, any abstentions?
Emma
Okay.
Smith and Shirley Secunda.
And right here, Eugene.
Wait, who was the next one?
Right
I'm
here.
sorry. Oh, Eugene, sorry.
And any recusals? Okay, so if we could maybe get that tally. if you could-
One moment,
Okay,
and I'll
just
have it
one
for
moment.
you. 1, 2. That is 3 abstentions, 10 no, so it passes.
Okay, so it carries. Okay, so with that, Chenault, let's go to Landmarks 2.
95 Horatio. Recommend approval of adding 1 matching window to the row to form a pair. 115 Mercer Street. Approval of the banner provided that the bracket is attached to the mortar joint. In the event that the position must be changed, staff has to approve a position that will result from putting it into a mortar joint. It just wasn't clear in the application that it was going to be. 67 Gansfort Street. Approval of master plan for proposed painted sign provided it conforms to applicable regulations. Then there was a laid over application for Bond Street. Approval of the modification of the fire escape ladder, replacement of the mezzanine infill, modifications to the sign, and repainting throughout. 80 Washington Place. Denial of the replacement of the existing fence with a taller fence and columns with lights flanking the entrance gate and unsuitable to the house and the historic district. Approved the bluestone pavers, and denial of the design of the bluestone immediately before the entrance, and approval of the skylight and alterations to the rooftop structure. 405 West 13th Street. This was a particularly thorny application and complicated. It's a case of we had to do it quickly in order to open, so we didn't have time to apply for a proper permit and go through the process. Denial of the mounting of transom letters that are glued to the window and that some other way be devised that staff approved. Approval of the design of the halo lighting of the individual transom sign letters, the sign and the sidewalk lighting. Denial of the hanging signs that are larger than is permitted. Denial of the flags that are call undue attention to themselves, to use a phrase often, and that they be more in keeping with the district. And approval of a translucent material for the rooftop. 57 Christopher Street, particularly fine restoration again. Resolved that recommend approval of the structure or work and brick recladding according to the brick sample shown. 62 Prince Street. I need to say a word about this. It's a case of a taxpayer that had an additional part added, sort of an annex. And there's a brick building facade that's of unknown origin and an enormous billboard over the property that was there before designation. And the sum of the proposal is we described it as an encampment of a fair or a carnival. It's a great deal of light, a great deal of openness. The taxpayer building ends up looking like a pavilion, not a building. I say that all because recommend that the bold and modern excessively lit application be denied as totally unsuitable to the neighborhood and the district. And that's all. Val.
Thank you so much. So for landmarks 2, we have 9 resolutions. Is there, hold on, let me just grab this really quickly. So we have 9
It's
resolutions.
8 because
I'm sorry?
Is the laid over one not numbered?
I didn't prepare this report, so I don't know what you're asking. Can someone, what about number 4? Oh, you have a question? Oh, okay, okay, thanks. So we have,
No, 4 doesn't exist.
oh, okay, okay.
Doesn't exist.
So we have items 1 through 3 and 5 through 9 to vote on? Okay, so are there any other clarification questions on any of those? Is there any unwillingness to vote on landmarks to items 1 through 3 and 5 through 9? Okay, so all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, those carry. So now, next, we're going to go to street activities and resiliency, and Eddie Siegel will be giving the report on behalf of Will Banesh.
Hi, everyone. You're stuck with me because our 2 chairs are out today. So my first ever report. For our new members, street activities, here's permits that typically happen before this meeting. So most of these things that we will be reading off have actually already happened. And it so happens that the first one is the only one that, as far as we're aware, was somewhat spicy. Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb with Shopify. This got upgraded to a bigger street closure event during the NYPD walkthrough, I believe, like 2 days before the event, and we weren't notified. I think that caused some traffic troubles, which is very unfortunate because when they presented to us, it seemed like a really well, professionally done event ahead of time, but that was a approval. Number 2, Fenty Beauty Taxi Stunt, separate but kind of related events. Lane closure, unanimous approve. Number 3, Paul Smith was a no-show, denial. Thayer's sampling truck was a pop-up on Broadway, approve with 1 recusal. Erica is a client of the business she owns a significant stake of. Canada Goose beverage cart, a coffee cart outside the business. We had them move locations from their initial proposal. That was a unanimous approve. Mother's Day floral cart, flower giveaway outside of the owner's business, unanimous approve. Disney Upfronts after party, that was a no-show, denial. Intermezzo, New York City, this was a private event that wanted stanchions and tables outside that we had them reduce the amount of out front tables. This was unanimous approve. Sons of Noise is a multi-day pop-up that they needed load in, load out on. This was unanimous approve. 214 Lafayette events. This is a load in, load out, and stanchions for indoor event. This was unanimous approve. Amazon Prime Roadshow design scene. Amazon putting containers in the curb lane to walk through a bunch of ad agencies through their stuff. This was also unanimous approve. Florida and Jamaica Day. Food truck on Broadway. Unanimous approve. Curbside skewer. Woman with a food cart partnering with a tattoo shop to cook outside of their building. Unanimous approve. Union Square night market. This was